All right, today we're looking at something a little different. It's a detailed investment prospectus for an exclusive and frankly pretty rare real estate opportunity right in the heart of the European Union. So, let's jump right in. Okay, let's cut right to the chase. The big number. The total investment for this entire consolidated estate is 852,000 euros. And look, we're not just talking about a plot of land here. This is a whole portfolio rolled into one. So what do you get for that? Well, you're looking at a massive estate, almost 170 hectares. It's a single consolidated package that comes with a private lake, forest, and farmland, all located strategically inside the EU.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down for you. We'll start by looking at why this ecosystem is so exclusive. Then we'll cover the location and assets, break down the numbers, explore all the ways it can make money, and finally cover the strategic advantages and what your next steps would be.
So first things first, what makes this so special? This isn't just about buying some property. It's about getting your hands on a complete self-contained ecosystem, which, let me tell you, is becoming incredibly hard to find in Europe.
And this quote from the source material really hits the nail on the head. It's all about scarcity. I mean, think about it. Finding a private, multi-use estate of this size, completely consolidated, is just not something you see every day. That creates a real sense of urgency and, of course, inherent value.
All right, let's bring this back down to earth and talk about the actual physical stuff, the location and the core assets. This is where you really start to see the tangible value take shape. Okay, location, right? And the key here is just how connected this place is. You're less than an hour from Riga, Latvia's capital, and even closer to a major regional town. Plus, with direct road access and the Lithuanian border nearby, it's perfectly positioned for tourism or just as an incredible private getaway. And here it is, the absolute crown jewel of the estate. We're looking at a private lake that's nearly 38 hectares. But it's not just a pretty body of water. It's a living ecosystem, stocked with pike, carp, and tench, and it's a haven for wildlife like cranes and swans. This is the kind of centerpiece that high-end tourism projects are built around. And wrapping all around that beautiful lake, you've got over 52 hectares of managed, mature forest. Now this is really cool because it does two things at once. It gives you total privacy and a stunning backdrop for any development, but it also holds real value in timber and could be amazing for hunting tourism. And to complete this natural trifecta, you've also got over 31 hectares of prime farmland. And the best part? A lot of the heavy lifting, the essential drainage work, is already partly done, which means this land is ready to go for farming, or you could just lease it out.
All right, we've seen the big picture. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty and look at the numbers. We're going to break down that 852,000 euro price tag piece by piece so you can see exactly what you're getting. That kind of transparency is crucial.
So this table lays it all out super transparently. You can see every single piece, from the lake itself to the development plots, the farmland, and even a strategic piece of land in the local town. What this really shows is that you're not just buying one thing. You're acquiring a diversified portfolio of assets that are each valuable in their own right. Okay, so we've got all these amazing assets, but the million-dollar question, or, the 852,000 euro question, is how do you make money from them? This is where things get interesting, turning this land into a real engine for growth, with multiple income streams that don't compete with each other. And this chart really shows you the magic of it all. Think of it like a safety net. The property isn't banking on just one thing. You've got tourism, real estate, farming, hunting and fishing, and even extracting resources. So if one area has a slow year, the others keep things stable and the cash flowing.
Okay, let's talk potential numbers, because this is where it gets really exciting. First, you've got the immediate cash flow. From things like tourism and hunting, you could be looking at anywhere from 200,000 to 500,000 euros a year. But here's the real game changer, the long-term play. Real estate development could bring in capital gains of 2.5 to 8 million euros, or even more, in just 3 to 5 years. It's got that perfect mix of immediate income and huge long-term potential.
So when you put it all together, what makes this opportunity stand out from the crowd? Why is this better than your typical real estate deal? Well, it comes down to a few key strategic advantages.
And this slide just lays it out, side by side. On the one hand, you have typical market offerings, which are usually fragmented, single-use parcels. And then you have this investment, a complete ecosystem with multiple revenue streams. And critically, it's a direct deal with the owner, no middlemen. It's already vetted and de-risked. And this right here, this is all about peace of mind for an investor. So much of the tedious, upfront work is already done and dusted. The land titles are clean, the resource surveys are finished, and the zoning is already in your favor. That means you can move forward with due diligence quickly, saving a ton of time and money.
All right, this brings us to the final and most important part. What happens next? If you're a serious investor looking at this, the path forward is refreshingly simple and direct. It's a really clear 6-step process. It all starts with the direct call to the owner. From there, you get the full info package. Schedule a call, visit the site, and then bring in your own team for due diligence. The whole thing is designed to be direct and transparent from beginning to end.
And here's the all-important contact info. And I think it's really interesting to point out the flexibility here. They're open to different deal structures and even different forms of payment, including euros, US dollars, and even cryptocurrency, which really caters to a modern global investor.
So, we'll leave you with this thought. You're not just buying a piece of property here. You're acquiring an entire ecosystem, just brimming with potential for both immediate income and massive long-term value. The only question left is, what's your vision for unlocking it?